Okay, so hello and welcome back to another Unity tutorial. In this one we're going to be doing something very easy. We're just going to be making data for different areas of our game. So we're just going to be making, for example, the scriptable objects and data holders for like elements, damage types, rarities, and so on. It's just something really simple I can do for this kind of filler video between making the interaction system and NPCs, because I don't want to start designing the NPC system and then realize, wait, no, I should have done it a different way and then have to do more videos on redoing the old system. So in my own time, I'm going to be like planning and designing the NPC system in my own side project, and then when I'm happy with it, I'll do the videos on that. So that'll probably be next video or the video after. So I'm going to basically, still make progress in these videos. We still need to do this at some point, so I thought it made sense to do it now. So this video is probably going to be shorter, and we're literally just going to be making data containers. So for example, we'll end up making we need to change some of our old scripts. So for example, the inventory currently is a scriptable object, but we're actually going to change it to be a mono behavior. And that's simply so that we can make the player have an inventory, and then we'll have the item container interface. And that allows us to basically say, when we interact with an item pickup, it says, did the thing that interacted with me, does it have an item container? And if it does, add this item to it. And that allows us then to, if we really wanted to, we could tell enemies to go and pick up items, which, you might want to do that. You might want to have a little goblin guy that runs around and picks up items on the floor, and then you have to kill him to get those back. I think that'd be a cool system. So item containers will end up making enemy loot tables so that when they die, they drop items. But obviously, for example, in that case, maybe this goblin drops some gold, but then it can also drop more stuff if it's picked up off the floor. You get what I mean, because it's obviously an RPG, you can do whatever you like. I'm just thinking of down the road, maybe we'll want to reuse the inventory and stuff, and it doesn't make sense to have the scriptable objects, for that. And then when we want to update the UI, we'll just use events to do it. We don't need the inventory to have a hard reference to the UI and stuff. We don't need those interlinked, we can do them decoupled. But anyway, enough blabbering, so let's just get into the video. But of course, before we get into it, I have to thank my patrons, with special thanks to Flow State Games, Average Morning, Bouderay, Thomas Huster, Remy Baldwin, and Phil Baum. If anyone else is able to help support the community monetarily, the link is down below. If you aren't, it would be greatly appreciated if you could help by following me on Twitch, Twitter, joining the Discord server. All those links are down below. But apart from that, now we can get started. Okay, so we're going to have to do some fiddling around with old classes. Not necessarily for this video, but we are going to do it in this video just to get it out of the way with, which is that our hotbar is a list of hotbar item. It's an array of hotbar slots which each store a hotbar item. And we kind of want to change that because with spells, originally I decided to have spells inherit from hotbar item, but in the end it actually makes more sense probably just to have item like so. So we can just have the item class like this. And obviously rename it here to be just item.cs. And then we can put item in the items folder, take it out of the hotbar folder like it originally was. An item is of type scriptable object. But obviously we need something similar between item and spell. Do we even have spell already? I don't think we do, but we're going to want to make that now, I guess. Now we've got some problems. Let's just see what's Okay, but now we've got some problems, so let's go see what's wrong. Many problems, and that's just simply because we changed the classes around. So wherever we've referenced hotbar item, I should probably just change it to be item, which apparently it doesn't want to do. It didn't actually rename it anywhere. I guess I could do a find and replace. So if we find and replace hotbar item with item, and we replace all, I don't think that's done it across the whole project, so we can do it on here. If you're using Visual Studio like me, you can go item replace, hotbar item, replace with item. Just make sure that T is correct. And then, as you can see, it's all over the place, so we're just going to say replace all. Yep. Boom. And then there's a few more little things. So the item drag handler should be the hotbar item drag handler, so that is a bit different. Let's close all these and see what's wrong with it now, or if anything is. Okay, everything's happy. So we look down here now. Items, we've got the item class. We're also going to need in the hotbars a new C# script called hotbar item. So rather than just having a hotbar item we all inherit from, we'll make an interface for this. So we're going to say just get rid of the logic inside here. It's not a class, it's an interface. And we're just going to say namespace dapper dino.items .hotbars. And what this interface is going to do is, well, not inherit from mono behavior. I'm going to zoom in. So what does the hotbar item have? Well, this is anything the hotbar needs to know, basically. Like what is displayed on the hotbar, right? So if there's a hotbar item, it's going to need to be usable. So we're going to have a function called like use, right? It's going to have a sprite called like icon, maybe, which is a getter. It's going to need a name, so string name is a getter too. For now, I think that's it, but we might actually have to add more onto there. Let's just leave that like that for now. So if we go over to our normal item and we tell it to implement hotbar item, it's not going to let us. And the reason is because not every item has a use function, right? We don't want to put any item on the hotbar. We only want to put certain items. So for example, consumables. So we can say on consumable, hotbar item, because that can go on the hotbar. Obviously, we have to be able to know about the hotbar namespace. And if we just zoom out quickly so we can see it all, it's happy because, oh no, it's not happy. We don't have a use function yet, so just add a use function now. I'm just going to say, debug.log drinking name, for example. Just for now. So that's a consumable item. What does it do when you interact with it? We're also going to want to do that for spells and for weapons on our hotbar. Like for example, for a sword, you want to use it. You trigger an animation event probably to do the swinging and stuff like that, and change the animator. For now, consumable item is usable. Ammunition isn't. Okay. So now we can't put ammunition on a hotbar, but we don't need to, so it's fine. That's what we want, and it's happy because we already have the name and the icon in the parent class. So the interface is happy. I'm sorry, there's loads of noise outside with like vehicles. I don't know why. I've had like 2 or 3 police cars in the last 5-10 minutes. Is really unlucky timing to record, but I don't want to leave it too late tonight, otherwise I won't get the video out. So let's go back to scripts. We want to make like a folder for magic, so let's call it magic perhaps. I can spell magic. We'll make a C# script called spell. As you guessed it probably, spell is just going to be a scriptable object. So it's a scriptable object, but it's also going to be a hotbar item. So I'm going to say using hotbar items, it's in namespace dapper dino dot magic. We've made a new one. So a spell will have to have some similar fields that the normal items have, but it also will have extra fields for spells like the element, for example. Let's implement interface. So the name is just going to return name. I've obviously not written that yet, but it's fine. Icon is going to return icon. And if I'm being honest, I'm just going to go back to the item and just copy this basic info to here. Now this is the one downside to using interfaces. You do have to copy these fields, but it's very slight downside for a massive upside, so it's definitely worth it. New spell name, icon is fine, basic info, return name and icon, use it. It's happy as a hotbar item, but obviously we want to put some other stuff on here, like we want to put, for example, it has a rare an element, right? But we don't know what an element is right now. But we'll probably want to reference it somewhere, so we'll write public element returns the element. Okay, so the only thing we need to do now to make this happy, let's just change this to be a debug.log to be casting name. And just to keep me happy, I'm going to go back to the consumable and make that a capital N, so it references the name of the scriptable, or the name field here rather than the name of the scriptable object. I think it might actually work anyway, because we wrote new name, so it overrides the other one. But anyway, we need to make an element, so in magic we'll make a new file, element.cs, And to be honest, element is very similar to rarity. So we're just going to copy rarity, paste that in here, and just make sure we change everything. So we'll say dapperdino.magic, new element, magic / element. It's an element. New element name. And this is it, to be honest, because for now, for an element, we just need name and color. See, rather than text color, I feel like I'm just going to call it like color. Obviously, I'm going to spell it my way. So it's like text. Well, no, it's just color. Sorry. Like so. If I go back to the rarities, I just want to rename text color to be like so, and this one to return that. So element and rarity are currently like the same data, but obviously they're different classes because different things reference them. We don't want to accidentally like just wing it and use the same class, and then later on we accidentally set the element of our fireball to be legendary for the element. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense. So it also allows us to add more data in here later if we need to, right? If we want to say, oh, elements also store blah-de-blah, then we can add that in here, which is good. And we see a spell uses element, that's happy. We go back, go to our assets, go to game data, so we've got rarities here. They're all gonna have the default color again because I just changed the variable name, which is a shame. I could have copied all the colors and put them back, but I'm actually just gonna skip ahead and set them myself now really quickly again to whatever seems good, so I'll be right back. Okay, I've set them all back. I don't know if they're the same as they used to be. I mean, they're not going to be exactly the same, but I've put them back to roughly the same. And then now I'd say we should make another folder for elements. So let's go put rarities inside game data, and then we'll make another folder in here called elements. Okay, so we're going to make magic element, and we're going to call it element_fire, and obviously we're going to have I'm going to have fire, water, and you can have whatever elements you want, right? I'm going to have fire, water, earth, air. I'm going to have arcane, light, and finally dark. For now, at least. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Ow. By my arm. So I'm going to cut again. Just, if you're doing the same as me, go through your scriptable objects and just set their names and their colors now. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've quickly gone through and set all those things. They're not perfect. Obviously, I can tweak them later when I actually end up using them on the UI. But the whole point is we might want to display the spell on our hotbar and, display the text color to be the element, just like how we currently display the text color of items to be their rarity. So we want to kind of do the same thing for spells. If you go look at item, we use this get info display text. So as you see, for the consumable item, we do the rarity dot name. Yeah, the rarity has the name. So we want to kind of do rarity. When the name returns, it's actually just returning the name without the color. But I feel like, if I remember correctly, when we display that on the UI, on the item destroyer, what do we actually say? We say, so the slot index, say, I wish to destroy, yeah, item slot.item.colored name, right? So here we go. In the, okay, so inventory item is of type item. Do we want that? I think that's kind of like the same thing. An item, because remember what I did originally was I had hotbar item that goes into inventory item and spell and stuff like that. So I'm going to probably have to think about this off camera and plan this out for how we're going to shift around the old classes. But we're going to keep all the same data, so we're not going to waste time and rewrite it all. But your goal for this video, if you're following along with me, is make another class, maybe make a combat folder, right? I'll just do this to remind myself. So in scripts, we'll make a combat folder. And inside there, maybe make a folder for, a script called like damage type. And make it just like the others, a scriptable object that has a name and a color maybe, and make instances of them. And the thing is, if you're, for example, going to do magic damage, physical damage, and true damage, then you only need to make a few instances of this. But maybe you do want like enemies to have resistance to specific elements, right? You might want to have fire resistant enemies, water resistant. You might want armor to increase resistances. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm actually going to make a damage type for all my elements, plus damage types for like physical and poison and so on. So I'm actually going to have more damage types than elements. But of course, when I'm actually making a fire blast attack, fire blast is going to be a fire element that deals fire damage. But this technically allows us to, for example, make a fire blast, and mid-air we end up changing the type to be dark. Maybe you have like a spell in the dark tree that makes projectiles that fly through this like wall become dark element. You know, it's just that kind of thing. You can do whatever you like. That's the point. So I want you to basically turn this into a scriptable object, just like the rarity and the element. Set that up, create the instances, put them in a folder, and then you'll be set with loads of data already predefined that you would normally have to do externally in like JSON files. But now we're doing it inside scriptable objects to make our life much easier inside Unity. So the next video we can do the NPCs, and when we give them their inventories, we can make loads of mock items, and then basically go and buy them off them and see them on the hotbar and the inventory and stuff. So I hope you're looking forward to that. That's it for this video. It's quite simple. If you've got any suggestions, leave them down below. Feel free to go ahead and start adding some stuff without me going along. But maybe if you do want to, you could keep a second project, one where you're following along exactly with the video, and then one where you're doing your own thing, just as a case of learning and doing stuff yourself. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching. Obviously, all social media and all that's down below in case you want to help me out that way. But apart from that, I'll see you in a few days. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.